So this is our new surge wing, and it took a few goes to get this right. It's basically similar foil section, so it's really good lift, but not too slow. Really good range. We've kind of kept a straight median line in it. I guess the big thing about that is the turn down and turn up. I call it the gross moustache effect. And to start learning about that, we had our Fireball 1000, and I rebuilt Fireball 1000 with the same outline, same foil section. Everything was the same twist. The only thing I changed was the turn down and the turn up, the gross moustache business. And then we tested it back to back, and it was slightly slower to get up. It was definitely slower at top speed. So if you're building a race foil, you don't want a lot of upsy downsy business in it. And you don't want that as that a foil creates lift at 90 degrees to the foil. So if you can imagine a foil exaggerated, turning down a long way and then turning up a long way, you've got your vectors and they end up pointing outwards and then they point inwards. I've exaggerated it just for effect. So you end up with vectors that are pointing out and vectors pointing in, and these ones are basically arguing with each other, which creates drag, and it's not efficient. Waste of energy. So, but in saying that, it does make a wing feel narrow. So that 1,000-span Fireball with the gross moustache in it, it actually felt kind of narrower, and it actually rolled side to side easier. Part of the reason also for it is that the tip facing up is less efficient for actually lifting you, I think, but it still has water flowing over it. So it acts like a smaller wing, so it's easier to roll, and the water flying over the tips actually creates some stability. It also helps with tip breach, and there's some other weird benefits that we sort of ran into, and that is having the upsy downsy business. If you're jumping and then trying to land on the foil again, with the wing being bent up and down, it seems to give just a millisecond of chance for this to actually get itself together again when it hits the water before the next bit. Whereas when it was flat, it's very hard to land without it crashing. We tried quite a few different versions of the surge, and one of the things that made this one work quite well is if you just look at the bits between my hand there, it's actually relatively flat. We did another one that was more of an arc through the middle, and with more of an arc, it rolled really well side to side, but when it rolled over, it tended to lock into a turn, and that was it. You're sort of stuck with that turn. This one here, it's quite progressive, and it actually feels really like a surfboard. It'll lay over into a turn, but if you're surfing on a wave and looking up at the wave face and you see it breaking over, you can just go straight up and whack at it. It's freer and easier to turn. Doesn't lock into a turn. Tip breaches really well. It's great in whitewater. If you see the videos of Luke riding it, it kind of explains a lot of how good it is for surfing. Also really good for pumping too. Like Luke is lightweight kg, and I saw him pull out of waves that pump 500 meters out to sea to the next wave, and then catch the peak and ride it back in again repeatedly. Like it pumps very, very well. The guys actually used it in the dock start competition and worked really well for that. So very versatile wing. I don't know, probably said too much. Have a go.
There we go. This is Luke. I'm Luke. So been riding the surge now for just a bit over 6 months. Been doing various comps and riding various conditions. 890 has been my go-to pretty much, mainly because there was 2 sizes made to start off with, and the rest of the sizes have come rather recently. So the 830, I think that will become my next, main prone wing, do it all. But like until then, the 890 has been good for sup paddle, para winging, prone foiling, pretty much anything you can throw at it. They lift super nice, super comfortable. They don't really have that aggressive lift. So it's really nice for for me, prone foiling, you get up on a wave, it's going to gradually come up, and you can engage the foil straight away and kick out to the next wave if you need to, or jump straight into turns and just kind of know it's going to be reliable. As Adrian was saying, with the upturn wingtips as well, as you kind of lay it over, it just gives you that little bit more angle. I think angle of attack as it comes out of the water, so it doesn't re-enter so flat and grab bubbles. And even looking at videos and things as that kind of wingtip comes back down, you can kind of see the bubbles get to about here and then they just wash off. So they tip breach very, very nicely. And, you know, for the 890, I can surf this thing. My old main wing was a 780 Spitfire. I can surf this probably even harder than I could the Spitfire 780 and pump it 10 times longer as well. They're really, really impressive wings. And yeah, I've never really looked back after jumping onto these. As Adrian said, the dock starting in Crozon, we'll run the 1010s, Kai, myself, and Ray. Yeah, another 100 kilo rider. So we were all riding, yeah. We were riding the 1010 and yeah, did really well on those. Ray made it to the finals in Saint-Tropez and I made it to the finals in Crozon. Unfortunately fell on the start and, you know, blew my chance. But yeah, they were very super reliable on dock start as well. And I think a lot of the Euros that kind of jumped on said the same thing, you know, some of the best dock starting wings that they tried. So yeah, really, really friendly. And for me at 100 kilos, like the 890 is kind of do it all. It packs way above its weight in terms of lift and then turning side to side, tips out. Yeah, all day long. No problems.
Is the surge replacing the Spitfires?
The surge is the surge.
It's not replacing the Spitfires.
I'm not sure.
It did for me.
Yeah.
It did for me. I suppose it depends what we want. Like I really like the Spitfires for kite foiling. We do a lot of kite foiling as well. But just having that kind of flat section and a lot of area is kind of nice. You can slow it right down and, you know, do some pretty unique stuff. I haven't actually tried kite foiling with the surges, but once I jumped on the surge proning, I never went back to the Spitfire.
Like a beginner going to intermediate stage, you can just go for it.
In terms of lift, like I find the Spitfire sometimes like on the takeoff or if you get a bit out of control or too much speed, it can really like jump up and lift really aggressively. Whereas this, I don't really find that. It kind of lifts and you can control it really easily.
This is a bit also, I would gather, obviously in the video, but when you go for a bit of turbulence or water, it's like bubbles or
Really
super
good.
comfortable.
you know, foam and shit.
Super comfortable.
It's a bit more better than the Spitfire.
Yeah, the Spitfire feels almost, you know, like you're driving down a gravel road with no suspension. And this thing just kind of, it softens you through it. It deals with turbulence and bubbles and everything really, really well.
I learned that it's like hitting the whitewater, it was, you know, not guaranteed with the Spitfire or the other wings, but with this one here, pretty much just every single time handles it and lands perfectly.
Yeah, it's
A twist down is really cool. Yeah, so there's a less angle attack on the tips.
It's got the same washout on the tips that all of our other wings have had.
I
So it should be the same with that, but I think it's more to do with the gross moustache business.
I think just with the angle, like if you imagine the wing continues down this way and you tilt it up, you know, and you tip breach, it's kind of breaching at a flat. And I find anytime you come out of and it's too flat, the bubbles are just going to shoot right back to the fuse every time. So just having that extra bit of angle of attack as you come out of the water and coming back in, it just lets those bubbles slide right off. And then even if you are a little bit flatter, I've had multiple videos where it just doesn't really get past that bend. So yeah, super, super, super friendly and just kind of does everything.
I would say there's a lot of lessons, like it's kind of logical looking back at it now. Like the Spitfire, we learned a lot with that for turning, you know, with a straight median line, and also the taper. It's got quite a bit of chord in the middle and it tapers quite a bit. And we've experimented with that a lot. And the earlier versions of this tempo, it was actually narrower in the middle with a wider tip. And it was actually much harder to get it to hold together. It just wanted to snap here all the time. So we actually widened the chord in the middle and increased the taper. And it made it a lot stronger, made it a lot more stable around the center section of the wing, but it also lessened the resistance to roll. So it turns really naturally and easily. It feels really comfortable to ride. That's got the same thing to do on the other roll. There's all the lessons that we learned in all the various wings, like right through the big dock start wings, they've all carried through to the other wings. All the lessons seem to cross over.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, in terms of size as well, like Adrian said, like running wingspan is a pretty accurate size comparison. You know, if you've been coming off the RV2s, I'd be looking, you know, if you're on the 999, I'd be probably looking towards the 890, maybe the 950, depends on your level and weight. And then, you know, if you're on the 819, probably jumping down to the 830. is probably going to be a good transitions. Like I said, coming off the Spitfires, I was on the 780. Did obviously jump up a little bit, but that's just because what was available. Now there's the 830 out. That's what I'm going to be riding mostly. Yeah, pretty sick. And then paired up with the surf skinnies as well. So my main surf skinny is the 300. I find that pumps really well. Pretty much pumps better than the progressives, turns better than the skinnies, and turns just as well as the progressives. So, it's kind of, for me, was that perfect fill in the gap. I never really liked the skinnies for surfing, just found it drew out the turns too much and you couldn't really, get as maybe radical as you'd like to. Whereas those, you're super comfortable to whip it a bit harder and know that you've still got some glide and on there if needed to. So, yeah.
It was amazing to watch Luke in the surf event in Crozon, and the judges had come from a full-on surf background. They were surfing the judges, and they were blown away to actually see foiling get to the level where it's fully surfing carving turns rather than whipping or he was gouging some turns and looking like he was surfing a proper surfboard. It was great to see.
And it was, super comfortable trend. Like as soon as I jumped off the Spitfire to that, it was just at home, felt good. So,
Look, what tail would you like to use with the
300 Surskin. Yeah. Yeah. So the 280, I just wanted a little bit more pump. Like for me at my weight, I wanted a little bit more pump, and then jumping to the 320, I wanted it to be a little bit looser. So 300 was the perfect gap for me. Whereas I know Kai and I think Perth over here as well will ride the 280 mainly. And then Sven, you on the 300?
320.
320. So, yeah.
Svenny's a big fella, and he's used them quite a bit. You've probably got something to say about them.
Yeah, I use a 950 quite often, like conditions today for downwinding, like surf downwinders, and it was really fun. And I was really impressed. I did the day before at Port Beach with the 1010, and it was knee-high bumps, and it was so much fun. It's unbelievable. It's
From our weights sort of close-ish.
Yeah.
The biggest surge, what would you equivalent that to in the Spitfire?
I almost would say the 1180 from the early lift, but it's way faster. From the early lift, how to get up, I think it's similar to the. I think it is more than the 1030, but I normally rode the Spitfire 1030.
Yeah, that's what I ride mainly as.
It's more. I get up earlier, and the stall speed is insane. If you're going on a bump on the bed and you're almost stalling, you're almost standing, I think it should fall down. You're in the front foot pressure and going in that. It's really fun.